God dog it.
It's the return.
You're not even on camera, doofus.
It's the return of the gentleman. Ooh. As Rudy Gobert would say, bonjour. As we say, au revoir to the Lakers season. Now, I know you might be thinking, Wilds, you picked the Lakers too.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're thinking.
A gentleman can admit when he's wrong. But Wilds, you were showing a graphic that said the Lakers had the best defense on the whole planet. Well, I thought defense wins championships. I was wrong.
This guy.
We'll get the show started in just 1 second. It's a big day. Oh, wow. Well, gentlemanly lighting.
You're really milking this.
I was wrong. I thought LeBron could win 2 games. I thought Luka could win 2 games. I also doubted Anthony Edwards again. I'll take over from here. Welcome to the show. Another episode of First Things First.
It's been playing for 5 minutes.
I know, it's unbelievable.
We're not fooled that you're playing.
It's unbelievable. Start the show, guys.
Today, the Lakers lose live from New York. We're starting with a Wolves win, powered by, yes, it's true, Rudy Gobert. The Wolves end the Lakers season in 5 games. Luka had a quiet 28. LeBron had 22. Maxi Kleber, who had never played with the team before, had 2. What in the world? 4:30 in now. Let's start the show. What went wrong for LA?
The weekend is what went wrong for LA. They didn't think they could win yesterday. They didn't have the energy of a team that thought. It's not that they didn't think they could win that game. They didn't think they could win the series. And so they didn't seem like they came out as a team that, you know, backs against the wall. I think that when you are championship or bust, which this Lakers team was the moment they got Luka, when it became crystal clear we can't win a championship, it sapped all their charisma's the wrong word, but their
energy.
Not Riz.
Oh.
Fight energy.
Cowherd used Riz on his show 40 minutes ago.
But they were lacking Riz.
Okay.
What is Riz?
It's short for charisma. It doesn't matter. Let's get back to the show. And Brew, they're lucky they didn't lose by 30 last night. The fact that Minnesota shot.
Yeah, they shot horribly.
Well, how about, you guys remember the famous 0 for 27 game from the Rockets? That game, the Rockets shot, Kevin O'Connor told me this morning, couldn't believe it, 7 of 44 from 3. The Minnesota last night was 7 of 47. They were worse than the Rockets in the worst three-point shooting playoff game ever, and they won anyway. And so, like, that is what went wrong for the Lakers. I will, because unlike Wilds, but much like Brew, will take accountability for incorrect predictions. Predictions are one thing, analysis is another. And what I think the failure in my analysis of this Lakers playoff run, which was far more abbreviated than I thought it would be, I think far more abbreviated than almost anyone thought it would be. It was not because I thought all of a sudden they were going to have a great defense, and I kept saying that. It was that I thought they had shown that they can have a passable defense, and I thought the offense that I saw a few weeks ago score 126 against the best defense in basketball, Oklahoma City, and then a couple days later score 110 through 3.5 quarters against that same best defense would just overwhelm Minnesota. None of that happened. Minnesota's length, youth, strength, and tenacity overwhelmed the Lakers, and I think the errors that went along with Brew, the Lakers consistently running out of gas in the fourth quarters of these games, ended up making them run out of spirit in Game 5, and they just didn't have it. So everything went wrong.
Your last point leads me to mine. I got several things as well. The biggest surprise, and you talked about the great offense we thought they'd have. is that their two superstars didn't deliver in the fourth quarter or in the clutch time. These games came down to the fourth quarters, all right? Game 3, it was tied 1-1. Game 3, Minnesota entered the fourth quarter leading by 2 points. They ended up winning by 12. Outscored them by 10. Game 4, the Lakers entered the fourth quarter leading by 10 points. They ended up losing by what, 13?
By 3.
I'm sorry, by 3.
Yeah, lost
by
the
3.
quarter
Lost
by
the quarter
13.
by 13.
Yep.
Game 5 last night, I agree with you, Nick. Like, I thought LeBron looked physically spent.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, going into the fourth quarter, Minnesota led by a point and then ends up winning by 7. So in those 3 games, Minnesota outscored the Lakers by 29 points in the fourth quarter. Over the series, it was by 42 points, which no one would have predicted. The Lakers were the 7th best clutch team in the league this year. The Timberwolves were the 7th worst.
Weird.
So it flipped entirely, and the Lakers shot 29% for the series in fourth quarters, in the 5 fourth quarters. That's the worst in any single postseason by a team ever. They've only been recording that since 1997. That is the worst. So your 2 big stars, like last night even, or not last night, the series. If you look back, when people look back 6 years from now, 16 years from now, they will say, Luka averaged 37 and 6, and LeBron averaged 25, 9, and 6, and they couldn't even make it to a 6th game? Like, what happened? They did all their damage in the first 3 quarters. And then when it came down to it and it mattered most, they didn't deliver. Secondly, the lack of size, as we all knew. Rudy Gobert, congrats to him. We'll get to him later. But great game by him. And Mark Williams, I mean, I don't want to talk like the dude is awesome. But here are his numbers after the trade was declined.
He did play his best basketball after the trade was renounced.
15, 11, a block and a half, 62% shooting, and he played 21 of 34 games. Now, I'm not saying had they had him, they win, but it would have been nice to give it a try because they went small, which leads me to my last point. J.J. Redick, and I've said it, we've all said it, great rookie year as a coach, got out-coached. He got out-coached. That you mentioned how Game 4 pretty much ended their title hopes. They looked spent last night. Like LeBron, and I credit LeBron for giving it his all. He didn't look like he had the energy he normally has. And then to go small the entire game and let Rudy Gobert, who entered the game averaging 3 and 6, go for 27 and 24.
Solid.
He had more offensive rebounds than the Lakers as a team last
So
night.
that was when you were talking about like the heart of the Lakers, and it speaks to the size issue as well. Offensive rebounds, 18-8 in the Wolves' favor. There was a point we talked about it in my shared office upstairs. Luka makes a jump shot with 6:30 left. They're winning the game.
Yeah.
And oddly, it didn't feel like it. There was a miss, offensive rebound, another miss from Dante. Rudy gets an offensive rebound and dunks it. It almost felt like those offensive rebounds were like extra demoralizing for the Lakers.
So here's the thing. I think JJ did a poor job this series. We're going to talk more about it later. I also think that I criticized Darvin Ham a ton because I thought he was consistently putting them at a disadvantage. I think JJ had a rough series, and if you will see how he goes on in the future. But I agree with Brew. Over the course of the season, I think JJ did a really good job. I know that there has been, really bad series from Austin. The reason I believed the Lakers could win the championship was not because I thought Austin Reeves was a star. It was, and so
Austin gave him 16 points a game. I mean,
he was Austin
what do you want from
I
Austin
didn't
Reeves?
pick the Lakers because I thought we were going to get A+ Austin Reeves performances, and you got C- Austin Reeves performances. So I'm not going to put it on him. People can say I'm letting LeBron off the hook. I thought that one of the biggest criticisms I have about JJ is not recognizing that just because LeBron will play 42 minutes a game, the same number of minutes per game he was playing at 20, doesn't mean it should be going on at 40. Where the lion's share of this blame lays for the Lakers is at the feet of the person who made us optimistic about the Lakers, which is Luka. Now, I think Luka I think people are going to get too dramatic about what this means for Luka's standing in the league, Luka's future. I think people will overreact to what it means moving forward. But I do think you can believe, or I'll say what I believe. I believe Luka is without a doubt, top 5 player in the league. And if you have him in the top 3, I think there's a strong argument for it. I also think this is the first series of his basketball life where it was either he had the advantage from the team around him or it was a fair fight, and his team lost because he didn't deliver. And so we've never seen that happen to him in the playoffs. Like we have seen him be undermanned and lose or over-deliver and win. He was not the player in this series that I think most of us anticipated he would be based on his entire postseason history. I don't think it, to me, really changes how I view him. But the biggest reason the Lakers underachieved is because in this series, Luka did. And you're allowed to have that happen, but that to me is bigger than JJ or Austin or LeBron in the fourth, any of it.
Yeah, I think all of that, like I said, Luka definitely didn't do what he normally does. And the defense, and we're going to get into all of this, but there's going to be a focus on his defense. He was terrible last night. Again, defensively. We saw he can play better defense because we saw it last year when he was in Dallas. He didn't do that throughout this series at all. But JJ was just grasping for straws. Like throwing in Maxi Kleber at the end.
Not great.
I mean, why not give Jackson Hayes
I'll tell you why.
shot?
Because he said to the journalist before the game, Jackson Hayes wasn't going to play, and he didn't want to go back on what he said. It was just
that's
rookie
a
mistake.
stubborn,
It's a
that's
stubborn
level
rookie
of stubbornness
mistake.
that
Like it's
shouldn't
just
be.
all it was. And it's not like, listen, there's only one giant Jackson Hayes fan at the desk, and it's the guy wearing the silly flower. I don't think Jackson Hayes is a world changer. But
yeah, I'm not saying he changed.
Certainly, if you're going to, it's like we have to go with the 7-footer. The guy who started for you in Game 3 versus the guy who that was the first time he ever broke a sweat in a Lakers uniform, literally. Yeah. That seems like an obvious choice.
It seems like if Jackson Hayes was going to give you nothing offensively, it feels like, hey, can you slow down Rudy a bit? Rudy's out here like prime Shaq.
Or honestly, go in there and it got so bad, and this is a testament to Rudy, where I was like, man, maybe you put in Jackson Hayes to do to Rudy what the Warriors have done to Steven Adams. Hack a Rudy, put him at the line and force him off the court.
Absolutely.
Like and I hate the hack a strategy, and I hate even more the idea that I'm like, got to get Rudy Gobert out of this game. Like it goes against everything I believe about Gobert in the playoffs, but he deserves all the credit.
He was great last night.
All right, so we'll talk about the Wolves now. Weird game. Ice cold from 3. Nick mentioned it. Literally the worst three-point percentage in playoff history. Ant only had 15 and went 0 for 11 from 3, which is also not good, 0%. Yet it felt like they controlled the entire game. Or did we sleep on Minnesota?
With good reason we slept on them because they went from 56 wins to 49. We thought they had a down year. Their second best player who was sitting up there, Randall, has a history of struggling in the playoffs. Congrats to Julius Randle. Him and Cat, and I don't want to get into Cat, he's the Knicks. He was great in this series. 22 a game, so he was great.
Defended well, defended LeBron well.
Played tough.
Yep.
Jaden McDaniels at times looked like a budding 3-and-D star. And he's the guy, as much as we talked about Julius struggling in the playoffs, look at McDaniels in the playoffs. And this is 27 games. This is not a small sample size. He improves, points only 2 a game, but look at the shooting percentage. From 35% to 43% on threes in the postseason, and he averaged 17 points in this series. So nobody would have foreseen that. And then, of course, we did overlook Rudy Gobert because Luka had such field days with him, famously having field days with him. And give Gobert credit, and again, we'll get to him later, but he showed up last night and got the last laugh. So I think we rightly thought the Lakers would win because Minnesota did not have a great regular season, and their second best player was like, he's not going to be that good in the playoffs, and they proved us wrong.
And it wasn't, one last point on the Lakers side of it, kind of in relation to the Minnesota side of it. Brew mentioned Lakers were great in the clutch, Minnesota was terrible, and then this series it flipped. Also, the Lakers had the second best record in the West at home, the second best record in the West against Western Conference opponents, second best record in the West against playoff opponents, second best to the 68-win juggernaut. So it wasn't, there wasn't a lot of like fraudulence in the Lakers' path to the 3 seed. They lost to bad teams a lot more than you would like. And so to me, there was good reason to think, well, games like last night, if Anthony Edwards struggles, where are the Timberwolves going to get their offense? And the answer was wherever they wanted to, wherever they needed to. And I think where I think Minnesota deserves tremendous credit, and what also makes the Anthony Edwards like superstar ascension conversation a little more confusing is in the 2 signature victories of his career, he has been bad in both games.
Weird.
You think he was bad last night?
I think if you're 5 for 19 and 0 for 11, yeah, no, okay,
0
so that's
for 11 from
0 for 11.
He missed shots.
Yeah, but
watching that game, and I get it, I'm not going to praise him like he was great.
Sure.
But when you watch that game,
he still had impact.
he wasn't bad. Yeah, he had an impact. He just missed shots.
But I guess my slight pushback on that would be he was getting to the rim so easily. He probably should have just made the decision to not take as many of those shots.
I agree with that.
And so, but Game 7 against Denver, he's 6 of 24. In that game, they win anyway. This game, he's 5 of 19, which is a testament to Chris Finch deserves credit. All the role players deserve credit. And the fact that a game that Naz Reid was the worst game he's played in the series, he's a good player. Julius got in early foul trouble. Jaden got in bad foul trouble and ended up fouling out. Ant plays poorly, and they still are felt in control and essentially leading almost the entirety of the game. It's a really, really impressive accomplishment. It's a really impressive accomplishment, and I think whomever wins, Rockets, Warriors, Minnesota presents real problems for.
Oh, absolutely.
Real problems for him.
Absolutely.
You want to talk Rudy?
Yeah, Brew keeps teasing we're going to do it.
Unbelievable.
We can't not do it.
No.
Rudy Gobert, 27 points, 24 rebounds, 9 offensive rebounds. Brew, are you ready to give Rudy his flowers?
I am. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's, some phenomenal player. But last night he was. He looked like Moses Malone. I mean, it wasn't like he was posting up and they're throwing it to him on the block. But 9 offensive rebounds. The Lakers had 8 as a team. So he's getting so that's the thing, Nick. All those missed threes.
It didn't hurt him.
A lot of them turned into passes. You know what I mean? Because he's grabbing all the rebounds and then putting them back for dunks or layups or whatever it might be. And remember earlier in this series, he was like a liability because he's missing little gimmies at the rim. And credit to him, especially because Luka had kind of made fun of him, mocked him, whatever, as he was abusing him last year in the playoffs. And I'm going to give him credit on the other end as well, because the Lakers clearly were like, we're going to hunt and expose Rudy Gobert on the perimeter. And he defended. He moved his feet as well as he could for a big guy. And opponents, the Lakers shot 36% against Gobert in this series. And that's not all at the rim. So he did a good job of at least defending and making it tough on those perimeter jump shots when they tried to expose him. So Gobert was great. And here's the thing. Whoever they face, and I think it's going to be the Warriors. It should be the Warriors. They're up 3-2. They're even smaller than the Lakers. So Rudy Gobert, you've shown us what you can do some nights. Nobody's expecting 27 to 24, but you need to go out there and be big. You got the last laugh on Luka. Get the last laugh on another of your nemesis, Draymond.
And by the way, the Warriors have shown they will go to the Haka strategy, which is an interesting wrinkle if that's who they play, because Gobert struggles from the line. Listen, I thought Gobert in the first 4 games of this series was shockingly good with his perimeter defense.
Yeah.
The Lakers had a strategy that I actually think was sound, which is get Rudy on an island, and you know what I mean? And not only put you in an advantageous basketball position, Rudy's an emotional player. I think it can be demoralizing a bit for him.
But don't you feel like it went the other way?
Winning the other way.
Oh,
When
yeah.
he
He got
stripped Luka,
Yeah.
I forgot what game it was.
Yeah,
But then last night, it's like, Rudy Avalanche is about
and
that.
he's flexing, and because it was an indictment on his offensive limitations. The fact that the Lakers got away the first 4 games, even when they were playing Jackson Hayes, they weren't really.
Right.
And Rudy had scored 14 points in the series. Like, you know what I mean? That it was like, hey, we don't have to worry that no one can guard you because the team won't give you the ball.
Self-check.
And so self-check. So he was spectacular. He was really the most, it's unbelievable. He was the most impactful player in a closeout game involving Luka, LeBron, and Anthony Edwards. And I do wonder for him, because he's one of the few NBA stars, and he's a star. You're a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. You're a star that is just roundly mocked by his colleagues. You know what I mean? And so this was a nice moment for him, and obviously the best playoff game of his life by a mile. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.